Kia's electric global modular platform, E-GMP, is all the rage in electric vehicles, delivering solid range, excellent driving dynamics, and practical storage in a range of new cars and crossovers. The EV6 is one of the best cars Kia currently sells, and the upcoming EV9 family hauler will surely impress. At a starting price of over $40,000, the EV6 isn't cheap. So how does Kia bring an electric vehicle to people who are more price conscious? They make an all-electric version of the Niro compact crossover, and it's been updated for 2023. Now I get a chance to get behind the wheel of the 2023 Kia Niro EV, and there's not much changed really from the previous generation to this one. Kia claims it's all new. It's a little sus, I think. It makes 188 foot-pounds of torque and 201 horsepower. That's comparable-ish to an entry-level ID4, and in a lot of ways, this kind of feels and drives a bit like an ID4. It's quick off the line. I mean, 200 horsepower with no transmission and pure torque right away is great. It's definitely not as fast as an EV6, nor is it supposed to be. This is really designed to be that more price-conscious, entry-level, accessible to more people electric vehicle. And in that case, I think the Niro does a really nice job. It looks new for this year. There's this new side blade design down the side, which if you get it with the more muted colors, especially like on a darker color with the satin or darker color side blades, I think it looks pretty good. We were told that the colors the Europeans get are not coming here unless fans really want it. So if you happen to sneak onto the Eurospec Kia website and notice them, like, I'll send them an email and be like, send them here. But basically, if you've been in one of these cars before, not much has changed. Acceleration obviously is brisk. There's a bit of torque steer if you put your foot down. That's sort of just the nature of this front-wheel drive architecture. And you can even roast the tires a bit if you put your foot down hard from a stop. There's more space this year. Vehicle's longer. It's got more cabin space. Kia really likes the idea of comparing this vehicle to a RAV4. And inside, I can kind of see what they're on about, especially with a flat floor in the back. Makes it easier to fit somebody in that middle seat. And there is a decent amount of legroom. Some more significant changes to sort of the powertrain this year is there is an optional heat pump. It's part of a package that comes with the heated outboard rear seats. The heat pump is more efficient in cooler weather, so you should see better range or less battery degradation when it's cold. There's also a battery heater, and that battery heater will work when you precondition the car in the morning, so that when you leave and you're up to temperature, you're at your most efficient state when you take off. The one other thing it'll do is if you do set a destination for a DC fast charger, an Electrify America charge point, whatever, it will actually start to heat the battery as you approach the station, so that when you arrive, the battery is in tip-top shape for receiving the most juice as quickly as possible. They upped the charging speed a bit for this new generation of the car. It'll peak at 85 kilowatts, where I believe the last one peaked at 50 on a CCS charger, which isn't amazing compared to some of the other vehicles that are out on sale, but at the price point that we're expecting this to come in, it's an appropriate trade-off. Kia is claiming, I believe, 40 minutes from a 10 to 80% state of charge, which compared to an E-GMP car like the EV6 is more than double the time. It's 18 minutes on an EV6. But most people don't drive that much. You're not driving 250 miles a day. You're not needing to DC fast charge. And when you do need to DC fast charge with this, as long as you time it with, a lunch stop or an extended restroom break or something, you're not going to notice it, especially if you're not doing it a lot. EPA range, Kia is estimating 253 miles to a full charge, and it's a 66-ish kilowatt hour battery pack. We'll put the full number on the screen below. But through sort of normal driving, it's really hard to tell on these first drive launches because we all drive differently. There's actually somebody in the car with me right now who drives different than the way that I do. You should also go read Ars Technica. It's a great website. But we all drive different, and it's hilly and it's hard to get a good number. So take this with a grain of salt, but we're seeing about an average of 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which actually is pretty good. I really liked the previous generation of the Niro, the plug-in, the regular hybrid, as well as the EV. I think that what's interesting about the Niro EV compared to, it doesn't make sense necessarily to compare it to a Tesla Model 3, but it kind of does, in a way that they're both the entry-level versions of the products. You can both get them with either a single, in the case of the Tesla, rear-wheel drive, but that car is almost 46 grand now. And I would argue that the hatchback design of this vehicle, especially with the new optional power liftgate, gives you a better way to handle the storage. I think it's a better use of space than the way the Tesla Model 3 handles it with a trunk, and it's a good sized trunk along with the front trunk. Having just this massive hatchback storage area, I think, is more practical for more people. So overall, I'm a fan. It should be on sale. Kia's telling us towards the end of the year. It'll be a 50-state car. All 750 Kia dealerships are now EV certified. And, if you're looking for something entry level, and I don't know, maybe the Leaf doesn't do it for you. You don't want to deal with the CHAdeMO charger, which I really wouldn't. And you're looking for something with more range than like a mini SE, then I don't know, the Kia might be a good choice for you. It's not a GTI, it's not a GTI competitor that way. For what most people are going to use this for, it's a really solid choice. At the time of this recording, we don't know how much the Niro EV will cost. Obviously, that plays a big factor into its recommendation, but we do know that it comes with more standard features than the EV6 and should start a few grand cheaper than the higher position model. But let's take a quick look at how the new Niro EV compares to other entry-level EVs. Range is obviously extremely important right now to EV buyers, and the Niro has a lot of it considering its size and price point. The 2023 Nissan Leaf Plus has a maximum range of 212 miles, which is down a tiny bit from previous years. The 2023 Chevrolet Bolt EUV has an EPA estimated range of 247 miles. The 2023 Kia Niro EV is rated at 253 miles, slightly eking out the win here. For DC fast charging, the Nissan Leaf uses an antiquated CHAdeMO connector that Nissan claims supports a 100 kilowatt peak. But in the United States, we've yet to find a CHAdeMO charger that'll do better than 50 kilowatts. The Chevrolet Bolt uses the much more common CCS connector with a peak DC fast charging rate of 50 kilowatts. The Niro wins here with a CCS connector peaking with an 85 kilowatt charging rate. If performance is your thing, there is also not much difference between the group. The Nissan Leaf Plus makes 214 horsepower. The Chevrolet Bolt EUV is down a little bit against the Leaf with 200 horsepower. The Kia Niro EV splits the difference ever so slightly with a horsepower rating of 201. We would compare pricing, but like we said, we don't know that yet for the Niro EV. What we do know is that recently both Nissan and Chevrolet have been very aggressive in pricing on its products, especially with the uncertainty of the federal EV tax incentive. We wouldn't be surprised if the Niro EV is the more expensive of the three vehicles. Ultimately, the Niro EV is a competent family hauler with a surprising amount of space and practicality, predictable driving dynamics, and a nice set of standard features. It doesn't set the world ablaze with performance or design, but it does exactly what it needs to do with few complaints. We'll take it. For more information on the Niro EV and its competition, be sure to check out our website at evpulse.com.